welcome again
to the third episode of
We're Just Haters,
the theater podcast. We kind of sneaked peeked into this week's episode last time.
We did.
And, drum roll, please. Bum, 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 bum. We went to see Slave Play,
which is on the West End at the Noel Coward Theatre. It's his West End, it's his UK and West End debut.
Mm-hmm.
The most Tony Award nominated play of all time. It was very popular on Broadway, but at the same time incendiary. But then when it was announced it was coming here,
Highly
it was also very anticipated, but also people were
upset
about Blackout Night.
Surprisingly. And that was weird. I didn't realize we went on a blackout night
I didn't
until
know
the end. And I was like, and I'm white.
Well, there was a bunch of not Black people,
but not many. But I didn't even realize.
I thought that this is the audience for the show.
Yeah, I didn't realize until the talkback. I'm not supposed to be.
I mean, the only clue that we had that it didn't allude to me. I got to the theater first, and I saw that they said there's going to be a talkback afterwards, a post-show discussion.
But
I thought it was just a post-show discussion. We lucked out so good. No, bitch, it was Blackout Night.
But you're Black. I'm white.
But luckily, luckily I fit in. Rasa, well, I mean, again, she was not the only white person in there.
There were like 5 of us.
There was more than 5.
There was more than 5, baby, in the talkback. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Didn't do it on purpose.
It's not like they're going to stop people at the door saying, whites can't come.
They shouldn't bring back segregation,
Well, they never had de facto segregation in the UK like we did in the States. But
never did.
But but the West End is kind of naturally segregated anyway. There's spaces in which it's not written on the door or anything, but you feel an energy when you come in that you're not welcome here.
And in general, even we went to see a lot of Black American playwrights recently, exclusively. This is the podcast to discuss Black American playwrights. And the audiences, when we went to Donmar.
It was mostly white people. Well, Donmar, it's the location though. The location of Donmar and 7 Dials.
But that's the thing.
I think that has something to do with it as well.
Yeah. And it's interesting as well. The programming is not catered necessarily to that audience.
Not at all. So because if you look at their season ahead, they have another Black American female playwright later on. The big musical, one of the musicals they're doing in the upcoming season is known for being a multiracial, multi-ethnic, even though it takes place in 19th century Russia.
But it's about access, isn't it? Because the prices
and exposure.
People who can actually afford West End tickets and good prices, people who are pensioners and mostly white.
Yeah,
I think.
That's the main deterrent for people.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about it later. But the talkback, that young gentleman who stood up and said that this is the first play he's ever been to, and which is holy baloney. That is baptism by fire.
Might be his last one as well.
But I don't think the way he was speaking, I think he was kind of into it. I'm not going to lie. Maybe this has been a gateway for somebody, which is interesting.
Maybe he's going to be like, all right, it's interesting, but I can do it better.
I mean, maybe.
You never know.
Inspire a new theater maker? Who knows?
Who knows?
Well, anyway, we should probably just go ahead and listen to Renata and Rasa on the day of in the house.
Yeah.
Before the show starts.
Let's go to the past.
Hello. Here we are.
Everyone. We didn't know if we actually wanted to see the show, but I mean, we have to, I guess.
Yeah, we're here. It's happening.
So,
the tickets were £10 each, so
that's a secret. The tickets were super expensive. So the play with one of the best marketing strategies I've ever seen. Just saying.
I mean, when it was on Broadway a couple years ago, pre-pandemic, it was just impossible to get tickets. It was that. I mean, it's the most Tony-nominated Broadway show of all time. I know what to expect, but I'm not sure if I really do, actually.
Yeah, well, there's definitely going to be some slave play involved.
Obviously.
Which is, I mean, we're not here to king shame, but...
I mean, it's supposed to be a form of, of therapy is what is the premise. And we can see that we're on a plantation, the set design.
Yeah.
We see the big house, the plantation house. And the music, the house music is some type of parlor music, very antebellum. And I think I hear the sound of chains rattling against each other. You hear it?
Yeah, I can't really hear it. It's very loud. It's hella
very
loud.
But it's going to be very unsettling. Prepare ourselves. Oh, there's a talk back afterwards. I'm excited because when they were doing talkbacks on Broadway, like people were picking fights with the playwright.
Oh my God, yes.
So I hope someone tries
because
it.
he is quite, he's a character. Definitely the most famous TikTok playwright. Could be interesting.
I hope people do pick a fight because, like, I'm here for the entertainment. Please, there's not going to be a shortage of drama in this. It's going to be drama from the Ruta to the Tuta. Okay.
Yeah. Already, I've heard. Obviously, I
mean, I do sometimes have problems with gratuitous violence.
Yes.
So we'll see how that plays out because we know that's what we're going to see. We're going to see forms of violence in this.
Today it was very interesting. I was at work and very famous, actually, British theatre director, let's not name them, were there. And I told them that, I'm going to see this. And I was like, have you seen it? And they were like, oh no, but I've read it. I was like, oh, is it going to be another black play for white people? And they said, but we can always learn. And I'm like, oh no, don't do that. I was like already like, oops. So we'll see. Because that's what I'm expecting.
Oh, here we go. Quite a few empty seats in here.
But massive queue. Oh yeah, and it has like a star casting.
Yeah, Kit Harington.
Yes, I've never seen him in anything, but
I saw him in Game of Thrones.
Haven't watched
like
it.
Everyone else did.
He's done loads of theatre, so
yeah, he's a theatre person.
Yeah, he loves that.
Yeah.
To be fair, I do like the old school set we're seeing. You know, the
practicals, the physical things, no projections.
That's what you were talking about. Bring back the practical theatre. So we think
bring back the revolving sets and the turntables.
Very Tennessee Williams, Chekhov.
Les Miserables, the original,
Hendrickson,
not what's on there now.
All of them things. Oh, here he is in the balcony. Jeremy O'Hara's, that is.
The playwright.
To be fair, I'm kind of jealous of the two-piece he's wearing. It's very cool.
All right, well, I think we should stop talking now.
Okay, yeah, shut up. Yeah, let's shut up and, see you in the interval.
Well, there is no interval. 2 hours all the way through.
Ooh, so see you after and see you after the talk.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Something different. Yeah. Different every night.
Salvadorian folks in our area.
We can go and get some pupusas
it's so good.
in Tottenham, I'm sure. I think it's more Colombian, but anyway, where were we?
All right, let's read what they have on the website for the show.
Yes,
basically it has in big letters. Is London ready for slave play? That's a good question. Because
that is a very good question.
It's always the question of why this, why here, why now? It really is a good question. Why this, why here, why now? Why London? Why in this point of time? Why on the West End?
Yeah.
I mean, I know why. The prestige, the money, the attention.
Yeah.
But
because it is a very marketable show.
Big time.
They knew they're gonna fill the seats.
Absolutely. Not a big risk because of how it went off like a bomb in the States. Well, let me read what the website says. Mm-hmm. It says, at the McGregor plantation, the Old South is alive and well. The heat is in the air, the cotton fields, and the power of the whip. Yet nothing is quite as it seems. Or maybe it is. This iconic, controversial, groundbreaking, and most Tony-nominated play of all time comes to London. Then it lists the cast members. They all star in Jeremy O. Harris's extraordinary play about race, identity, and sexuality in 21st century America. Robert O'Hara directs at the intimate Noel Coward Theater for a strictly limited and unmissable season. It started, actually he wrote it, Jeremy O'Hara, the playwright, wrote it back in when he was at Yale School of Drama, which is like the eminent drama school in the U.S.
Everyone and the grandma heard of this.
Yes, and the big part of Yale School of Drama is that it is tuition free. It is free, for free.
Oh, damn.
So because they have so much money that it is tuition free. It's a 3-year MFA programs. They have directing, acting.
And that's why we learned that he went to Yale quite quickly.
Yes, because he kept repeating it at the top
all the time.
Which I get it because it is like the premier drama school next to Juilliard in the U.S.
So when was that? Do we know?
Well, it first made its debut back in November 2018 at the New York Theater Workshop, which is also a very prestigious entity that is known for new work development and stuff like that. And then literally a year from its New York debut, it went on to Broadway.
Incredible feat.
Very incredible feat. And it received 12 Tony Award nominations. It didn't win any, but it beat the record set by the 2018 revival of Angels in America, which is also
incredible.
Which is one of the eminent AIDS plays.
So it stands, as you said, definitely one play that tells a lot about the zeitgeist, I guess, and play that's gonna be talked about, I think, for probably
a while.
Decades.
Should we talk about what happens?
Yes.
How we start off?
So, spoiler alert, obviously.
So we open up with the character, we don't know her name yet, but it's Kanisha, and she's a 28-year-old Black woman who's a writer. We don't find that out till later, but we just see her on stage, and she's in 19th century workwear, plantation wear with the cotton linen shirts and, with the apron, with the big skirt, with her hair wrapped up, looking like an enslaved person, essentially. And she's sweeping around. She's looking at herself in the big mirror. And she's sweeping with her broom and stuff. But then we hear in the background Rihanna's work turn on. And she just can't control herself. And she just can't help but shake that ass. Exactly. And she does.
And she does. And she does it well.
And she does it very well.
Yeah. And then here comes
Jim.
But we don't. Then the Jim comes in.
Master Jim.
And he's not an owner. He's
overseer.
He is overseer. A kind of.
It's like a weird type of flirting situation going on here in a dark way. We don't really know yet that this is not the actual situation, that this is play. You start off uncomfortable because you think, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why am I seeing this? Because it can be so uncomfortable to see that power dynamic play out like that, and then her liking it.
Yeah.
Kanisha liking it.
Yeah, it took me a few minutes, but I feel like because the name is Slave Play, and Slave Play is very kind of famous kink. Once they started doing it
and you can see them breaking a little bit.
Yeah, when they started breaking the character, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's happening.
And then eventually, we have the cantaloupe, which is the main graphic for the play, for the advertising. And Jim slams the cantaloupe. And also, obviously, he's in this very stereotypical lower class Southern accent as well, which is quite good. Quite good. So it's really jarring when he switches from that
into
it's his British accent, which is even though they are related, because a Southern accent is literally just a British accent slowed down. Anyway.
That's why Shakespeare sounds so good with Southern accent.
So good. It's so good.
Incredible.
Somebody actually, when I was an undergrad, we did Midsummer's Night's Dream. Set in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
So, there were some New Orleans accents in there that really hit with those monologues.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The yambing pentameter in Southern accent, yummy.
It's just so good. Anyway, so he slams the cantaloupe on the ground, and then he forces Kanisha to eat it. Well, actually, she's being coy and stuff, but then she eventually does eat the...
Is there a deeper meaning
to cantaloupe? Fruit ripening, vagina.
But there's no I don't know, something that...
No, I don't think so. I think it's about, it's sexual.
Yeah, because
fruit.
Again, another king. Some people like to fuck fruit.
Yeah.
True. People are doing weird shit, guys.
Christ almighty.
The fact, why do I know so much about King? I'm so vanilla.
I think whatever you think someone has as a kink, it exists. You can
that's the thing.
Anything that you can think of, probably
I feel like as long as it's consensual and both parties enjoy it,
we can't shame them.
We can't.
But I think we can judge. We can't shame them.
Whoa.
We can't we can shame them. We can judge them, but we can't shame them.
Yeah, and also if it's behind closed doors and it doesn't hurt anybody and they're both enjoying it, fine.
Yeah. Anyway. so that happens, and then of course they end up having sex on the table or whatever.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the next couple,
and kind of very similar scenario
plays out, but it's a white woman who's like the mistress of the plantation, and then her mixed race servant.
Yeah.
Who, was kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Her the servant like could be her husband's child.
Oh, ew. Oh yeah, ew.
But I mean, again, this is not, they're playing, role playing.
Yeah,
but if you think about it, like from a historical standpoint, highly likely that he is.
Yeah,
and there's an age difference between them as well that we can clearly see.
Another king, stepmama and stepdaughter, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Stepfather and call me daddy. Like this is such a big thing in king community. So. And also, there's a big age difference in between these two characters.
Yeah,
but kind of the same thing plays out, and then we move to
and then she pulls out a big black dildo, and she uses it on him.
Yeah,
but it was a little uncomfortable for me because I couldn't tell if he liked it or not.
I feel like he pretended to not to, but he actually kind of did. I don't know.
I hate that gray area shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know they were playing it out, but I was just like, does he like it or not or what?
I think everything, as you say, like that, violence, any kind of violence, especially with this, it could be enjoyable, but we don't know because it could be potentially it potentially could be rape.
Yeah, because they was getting raped too, the men too.
That's the thing. And another thing, that's why I think it's so fucked up because that's yet another king. People like to pretend,
I'm getting raped or I'm raping.
And that it turns them on. Anywho.
Then the third couple.
Yeah.
It's a gay couple.
Yeah.
And it's actually a switched power dynamic. So the quote unquote quote white man in this couple is actually an indentured servant. And the black guy in the relationship he's an overseer. And so they get into this weird wrestling thing. And then I don't remember what song was that was playing. Can't remember the song.
I can't remember the song either.
But a song starts playing, and they start, doing a little role play, and actually, this is the first time we see a couple fully break.
Yeah.
Because they start laughing because they think it's ridiculous. They fully break. They really get into it, but then, they finally, he climaxes the black character, and then he starts crying.
Yeah, he starts getting a
basically a panic attack from it. And then we see all three couples having sex. And then
Jim,
the first couple we saw, Jim, he shouts their safe word, which is Starbucks,
which means the whole play for all the couples ends.
Yes. And then we see the two counselors come out. Says, okay, everyone, we're gonna meet back at the big house. And and you can see that some people in the mixed race and white woman couple, they were disappointed because they wanted to keep going. The gay couple he was having a panic attack, so they're dealing with that.
He climaxed.
But then Kanisha was so pissed that Jim had called the safe word.
Yeah.
So now we're back at the big house, and now we're in our therapy session essentially, and this whole experiment is being headed by these two
mediators. I don't know.
Psychologists,
psychotherapists, who are a couple as well.
Yeah, they are a couple, and they're psychologists, Taya and Patricia. And basically, we find out that this whole experiment is to help couples, interracial couples, where the black person in the relationship has basically.
They are not attracted to their partner.
Yeah, essentially. They're not attracted to their partner any longer. Can't seem to perform sexually, essentially.
Yeah.
So basically, this whole middle part is just a bunch of back and forth. People sharing their feelings and stuff, and really funny quips, I guess, about, that neoliberal, way of thinking about race and relationships and sex and sexuality and basically that dynamic between that white, the white woman, how she was kind of taking over everything and calling her out on that.
Yeah, very kind of stereotypical white older woman character.
And the Karen,
couple, the
Karen.
Yeah, and she started crying, all the tropes of the Karen.
And then the white man in the gay couple, he's saying he's not white.
Yeah, so because he's Middle Eastern.
Yeah, actually. Yes. Even though for census taking in the U.S., previously Middle Eastern was considered white.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag because Middle Eastern is such a broad range of ethnicity and look, and people need to stop putting it in one box.
Race is it's a social
construct
thing anyway. So like
it's a social construct anyway. Ethnicity is
a thing.
Is a real thing.
Yeah,
race itself is not.
It's stupid.
But we live in this world that it is a thing. But anyway, so he goes through that saying, "I'm not white." Yeah, sure. But how you're perceived physically, how you look, how people perceive you as is a whole nother thing compared to what you actually identify as. Yeah. You can identify as one thing, but how do you move through the world? When people look at you, how do they approach you? How do they speak to you? How do they interact with you? Is it in a way that
is... That's like, I have a question, because obviously like the that kind of the blackness in the States is like one drop of blood, and you could be black, but it doesn't, the same kind of thing doesn't happen with other
there's a more
races.
Mixed race identity here. You can be mixed race. It seems it's seen as a separate thing in the UK, but in the States it's usually the default of whatever the non-white counterpart of you is. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the one drop rule for sure kind of forces you to have to choose, but also phenotype. You know what I mean? Mixed race people can look any type of way. They can look phenotypically black, but also light-skinned black people who do have two black parents could also look like they're mixed race, but they are not, because they have two, black parents. But like my sister is always coded sometimes as mixed race, but she ain't. She got two black parents. I promise.
But that's the thing. It's like how genes like travel generationally.
Yeah, all three, me and my siblings, we all look different. I think, the way it manifests is really different in the States than it is here.
So anyway, where were we? Yes. So then they have a massive argument and like screaming match about him being white, and then him being like, "But who are you then?"
And so he's basically sick of him kind of like only being a person of color when it suits him.
Yeah,
essentially, like being able to pick and choose. And he said, "I'm black all the time. It's like 365, 24/7. I can't take it off.
Yeah,
I can't take off who I am.
Yeah, I can't." He's like an off-white.
Exactly, and he can take off. He can take off who he is.
Yeah,
he can pick and choose. And that was the whole problem with the relationship. Then eventually we get more information from Philip and what was her name?
Karen.
No, Alana.
Alana.
Oh, it says in here that Philip is 30 and Alana is 36.
Wow.
But the way they casted it made them look at least 10 years.
Maybe she looked in her 50s. He looked in his like 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. She didn't look 30.
No, that made but that could be a choice. Mm-hmm. That could be a choice. That young buck situation,
I think,
which is more interesting to me.
Which is more interesting.
Way more interesting to me. But Alana and Philip. And Philip eventually is like, he tries to move throughout the world as just Philip or whatever. Yeah. Being mixed race is a non-factor for him. But then he kind of, a memory comes up when he played football, and he was in a locker room as a teenager, in college, in uni, and they were literally talking about his penis,
like sexualizing
him because he's half black, he has a big penis, which is like, first of all, why are you looking at my dick?
Yeah.
Second of all,
but that's like
it was he realizes that was like traumatic for him. For them to be inspecting his body, like they would on the auction block, inspecting their bodies.
Even
in sports, inspecting bodies.
In UK as well, like there was like so many instances when they would be like discussing like the undercarriage, because it was like visible of the athlete who's doing very well.
Yeah, because people feel that they can talk about people's bodies like that.
Yeah, do you remember the 90s and women? As well, it's like, oh my God, you put on weight.
Oh, you're fat. You're fat. Oh my God, I used to eat those tabloids up. They used to come to my house,
and
they're like, oh, you're a size 8, so you're fat.
Yeah, it's like,
what?
Oh, your tits. Like, but it was like a normal thing to like, even like David Letterman and whatever, like us.
Oh my God. How about I talk about your hairline?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I know you have a Viagra prescription. Yeah. How about you get that checked out?
That's the thing. But
your enlarged prostate. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me stop being mean.
No, but honestly.
Enlarged prostate. Go get that checked out.
Is he not dead?
No, he's not dead.
Sorry.
He's still with us.
Sorry, David. If you're listening. Imagine.
Yeah, it comes out as traumatic for Philip that happened to him because he thought that he could be immune to it. Yeah. He could like just be himself. But unfortunately, in the racialized world we live in, it doesn't allow mixed race people or any person who's not the default, who is othered, to have to deal with those things.
You're too white for black people, you're too black for white people, and then where do you stand? Like,
yeah, that's true. And then we finally get to Kanisha finally.
Yes.
And you know, she's been silent essentially this whole time, but Jim keeps trying to get up and talk. And Jim is just Jim, who's British, which is another interesting choice here, I think, because like it kind of just reminding British people that you are not removed from this.
Who started all this, guys?
I mean, it's really the Spanish and the Portuguese, but
but who did it best?
Who did it more efficiently? The British.
So nobody has done it
as efficiently as the
That's
Dutch,
why we live in such a
English.
Beautiful city, because of that fucking cash that you made.
Exactly. Why we have great public transport.
And what we still, until 2017, we were still paying slave owners
reparations.
From our
and the thing
tax money.
People who are descendants of formerly enslaved people were paying their former enslavers.
Yeah.
Crazy town.
Yeah.
Insane.
Wild. Anyway,
basically what happens is we have a big blow up or whatever. Everyone's getting mad. Everyone gets heated. Even the Taya and Patricia get basically we can see the dynamic between the two of them as an interracial couple as well. Yeah. About who's over talking me and like, what about my ideas and like stuff like that. You can kind of see echoes of that in their relationship as well. Yeah. The big blow up happens, everyone's kind of mad, and you know, the session ends, and then Kanisha basically is just like totally rejecting her husband. And so we see them back at the bedroom. Okay. She's packing her stuff, and then she just kind of puts herself in a cocoon in the bed. And then Jim comes in trying to talk things out or whatever. And basically she's saying how you never listen to me or whatever. And then, you know, I feel disgusting laying with you when you're on top of me. I feel like the ancestors are disapproving of what I'm doing and stuff. And you're a virus. You know, people like you have, you know, destroyed civilizations with your disease, with your virus. But then there's like a break that happens, and like she recounts their relationship, basically how they met, how they fell in love. But then he actually does start listening to her and restarts up the slave play
and rapes her.
But again, question mark.
So it's a pretend rape.
It's a pretend rape.
And she loves it.
She loves it. Yeah.
Well,
and first of all, we have all the mirrors, so we can see everything. Oh, also, side note, they made us put tape, stickers on our phone cameras because there's full nudity in this multiple times, actually. Like twice. Actually, it's not as graphic as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Again, I feel like quite unnecessary. I don't know, like why Jim's character had to like walk around and parade his dick to everyone. Like it didn't feel. Again, it dated the play.
We all saw it, you know, on the Game of Thrones. Anyway.
Well, I haven't, but like, whatever.
Anyway.
But I've seen many a dick, so it's not like...
Yeah. But I mean, it's theater, you know. When you're in theater, you kind of get used to naked people.
And also, like, it was revolutionary 30, 50 years ago. Now it's just boring. I don't know. Yeah. But whatever.
Basically, he turns back on that Southern accent and takes the whip out again. Like he had it earlier. And they start engaging in slave play and they have sex. Well, but then at the end, she says, "Thank you, baby."
Yeah.
As in that's what she needed. That's what she wanted. Blackout, end of play. Should we listen to ourselves immediately?
Yeah.
And this is after the talk back, everyone. After we end, which was an hour long talk back almost.
Right. And so we have come out of seeing slave play and then going to the talk back after, which was quite long. It was almost an hour long talk back.
Yeah. And then O'Hara's just invited everyone to a pub.
Literally, and said, hey, if you guys want to get drinks, we're going to this bar around here. So please come say hi. It's like, wow, that's bold. Inviting 900 people to
Thirsty. So, Renata, what are your thoughts on...
what are my thoughts?
Yeah.
I think my main thoughts is I think that it's clear what time and place this was written in. You can tell based on the content of it and the words and the text that it was written 2018, 2017. Like, you can tell what time period it was written in because it was just a lot of buzzwords and stuff. I mean, it was meant to be ironic, obviously. You know, that was the whole point, right? But it did feel. It's like how I feel about Hamilton. How Hamilton feels dated now.
Yeah.
It felt dated to me, and in my opinion, it didn't illuminate any new thing. It didn't give me any new information. It didn't have me consider anything new. It felt very echo chamber, and partially it's because we were there at blackout night, and that is a part of it. But it felt very echo chambery to me, and yeah, it didn't give me any new thing. It didn't. I mean, we've rehashed. Even though we haven't done it in kink, we haven't really talked about kink on stage like that, and race in kink, not like this,
but
which is true.
Again, premise. A very good premise.
Absolutely.
I think.
But I feel like we still surface. So I've had multiple traumatizing theater experiences in the last couple of years that are definitely more hard-hitting than this.
Yeah. I think what threw me and like I just found it so jarring is that we couldn't choose what kind of genre we are in.
Yeah, the tone was a bit all over the place.
And I know why, because the playwright, he wanted to be clever. He wanted to put jokes in, and he put jokes in the middle of like heartfelt monologues. And sometimes you need to kill your babies. Okay, yeah, jokes maybe worked, but again, as you say, maybe it's echo chamber.
I mean, there were a lot of funny moments. I was laughing because there was some really funny moments. But again, it may be, you know, I had this problem when I saw that show in New York. When I saw The Wiz in New York, I felt like they just kept going. They just kept piling on the jokes, piling on the jokes over and over and over and over again. Do the joke, finish it. Let's get serious. Yeah. And then, okay, another joke.
Yeah. I feel like the first half, like part of the play, where everyone's like just having, you know, slave play, as in kink. I saw it once and then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then we did it like 2 more times, and I get it, like it's different couples, but again, I was like trying to find where's the story. And the characters as well. The characters felt so confused. Like, for example, Kit Harington character, he was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous. I find it so weird," you know. And like he goes on all that speech. But just 2 minutes ago, we saw him fully in character, fully committing, being like doing an amazing job.
He had some moments of slip, but maybe there should have been more slip.
Quickest way to Chinatown.
This way.
Oh god, damn, what was the wrong way for like 10 minutes?
You're very close.
You're so close.
Very close.
No one's answering my questions.
Devastating.
Literally, if you keep
No, it's because it's London.
Keep going.
No one from London seems to want to answer
Keep going.
anything.
Yeah. Keep going.
Straight down there.
Yes, and you're gonna find it. Yeah, you're very close.
Super.
Yeah.
Super.
Close. You sound like you're about to break out in song then.
No.
Super close. It's super close.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm very hectic.
It's fantastic. We love the energy.
It's fine.
It's perfect timing.
Yeah, it is.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm alone. I moved here 3 weeks ago. I'm just trying to find my way around London.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find Soho. Thank you for letting me know the way. But
Also,
is it easy for a single gay man to navigate themselves around London?
Especially in Soho, yes. And you might not
Soho
be single
is,
either.
not in Soho.
I don't want sex. I don't want sex. I just want to say
Yeah.
hello. I mean, being here for even 3 weeks, no one speaks to you.
Yeah,
I've been on the tube and I've been like, oh hi, how you doing?
And they're like, oh my god, they're like crazy.
Oh my god, he's insane.
Don't talk to me.
I'm like,
get me.
I'm from a small village. I say hello to everyone.
And then they go to work and it's like, you're not gonna believe what happened to me on the tube.
This crazy person said hello.
Have you seen that video
Some
about
blonde gay boy said hello to me. Okay, so Soho. This way.
It is that way as
that
well,
way.
yes.
Yes.
They're all like adjacent to each other, so you'll find it.
That is not a good answer for me.
Google Maps.
They're all adjacent
City
to
map
each
verse.
other.
City map verse.
I've got 5%.
Google
I'm
Map.
trying to
fair.
reserve it
Yeah.
for Grindr.
Fair.
Okay.
So-
that makes sense.
Someone who doesn't want sex? Okay.
Don't judge me.
Okay.
I didn't say I have sex with them. I just use them for directions.
Okay.
All right.
I'm like,
That must be so
I'm
frustrating
like,
for your Grindr.
hungry bottom.
Where's Hungarian is
looking for home. And I meet them. I go, so direct me. And they go, wait a minute, don't you want to have sex? No, I just need a direction.
Not erection. Not erection. Not to be confused.
No erection, direction. I need direction, not erection. Exactly how you.
Yes.
This was great. Such a good segue.
That's amazing. I'm looking for a direction, not erection. That's going to be my. Honestly, I'm going to use that at least 3 times tonight.
You
Do
must.
it.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's
Right,
alright.
guys.
All the best.
I leave you to it.
India
Do I look okay?
Yeah, you look
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Thank you.
Bye. That's gonna be a lovely segue somewhere in there. Imagine.
Don't you love London?
This is gonna. Welcome to Soho. Where were we?
Oh, we were talking about how it didn't feel like anything that it wasn't revolutionary in any way. No, you're right. It wasn't, and I mean, I know we always talk about how we love a short play, a show that's 2 hours, no interval, right?
Yeah.
I think this could be 1.5 hours because I think I was really starting to get tired there. And that last 45 minutes, I was like, this keeps going. It's going nowhere. It's not moving.
Beginning scene, the 3 couples having sex, intertwine them as well.
Instead of putting them all
one
front.
and one and one, just do like one star, another one, just like play them simultaneously. Same thing, it's same idea. You're playing the same idea. Different. You want different dynamics? Fine. An hour and a half. But yeah, we shall discuss more
in the studio. So that's that, and see you all next time.
Yeah, we're not going for drinks.
No, we have work
with
tomorrow.
him. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Bills to pay. Bills to pay. Bye. Yeah, you gotta love Soho, eh?
Yeah. And it was like a midweek night. It was on a Wednesday night, and yet, but it's summertime, so everyone's out.
Yeah, summer.
Those were our immediate thoughts afterwards. I mean, after the talk back and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned before, they did take questions from the audience, and one of the kids in the audience, he said it was his first play ever.
Damn.
And he actually said he asked really good questions, especially the question he asked about he felt that it was anticlimactic ending, which is a valid point.
Yeah.
But the playwright explained that he kind of wants us to create our own climax afterwards, for us to think about it afterward instead of kind of giving you the answer, which I support. I do, but I'm still confused about what the message is.
But that's the thing, he didn't give us enough clues to even actually have enough to think about, I'm sorry to say.
I mean, if you want to say that you've seen The Hottest Ticket in Town, go see it. A great thing about this cast is a lot of them were original cast members. Some of them were in the original
which
cast.
is quite interesting.
But they also had some newbies in the cast too. Kit Harington was one of them. It was interesting them hearing the actors talk about their process and how they kind of keep sane and keep safe and take care of their mental health after performing the show every night, 8 shows a week, which can be difficult.
And then I think it's a bigger question again, if it's so tasking to the actors and they experience so many emotions, but us as the audience members don't really. So then it's is it worth it?
I mean, I think people are getting something from it. I mean, just based on the energy that when we saw it as well, I think.
We mentioned in the after show thoughts that the humor, to me, it seemed like, how to put it mildly, but I think like to keep within the theme of this play, to me it felt a bit masturbational at some point. Being like, Harry's being like, oh my God, I just thought of this super funny joke. Let me just add it. And like, when it was in the middle of very heartfelt monologue that was supposed to, you know, make us feel some type of way, and then we break it up with a funny line.
But I feel like that what you're talking about, being clever with all the jokes and stuff, I'm seeing a trend in other works. Like when I saw a completely different show to this, okay guys, The Wiz.
Yeah.
I saw that a couple weeks ago in New York on Broadway. And I'll show you the movie one day, but the movie's not as good as the play. Anyway, it's a very important show. It's the Black version of The Wizard of Oz. It is important in our cultural zeitgeist. But this production that I saw, which was the first revival since the 80s, it had a lot of jokes, clever jokes, funny moments, piled on top of each other. And it just kept happening. And I was just like, okay, can we tone it down and let's get to the story?
I feel like, a lot of, I agree, a lot of plays like tend to be like a collection of funny tweets.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay,
to
we
be
get
trendy,
it.
to appeal to the young people. And that's, The Wiz was the same way, just like how I felt about this one too.
Because it's like, we get it. Yes, you are well-read, you vote,
you know what's going on in the world, you know what's going on online, you know how the young people talk, you know how they interact with each other, you know what jokes will be real funny. But once you do too many, it acts as a crutch. It's like, you know, let the material speak for itself.
Exactly.
And I feel like for The Wiz, and for this actually, the actual story and The Wiz being, you know, a 50-year-old piece at this point, they didn't trust the source material because they did a rewrite of the book, a updating of the book. You can trust the material that's already there. People don't trust the material that's already there to move the story forward. So they feel like they have to put all these jokes and new things in it to kind of make it more interesting. But you don't. If your story is already interesting, which it is, the premise is very interesting.
That's the thing.
Trust it and go with it. You don't have to put all these...
You don't need to keep signaling to us that, oh my God, I'm actually witty and actually clever. We get it. Jeremy, you clever. You funny. Do your thing. Just tell us the story. That's why I feel like Daddy was more successful in actually telling the story, even though it still had like similar vibes, I guess. But the story was there. I think like big, I would say, cop-out of this play was, there's nothing more boring to me like a therapy session on stage, because it gives you massive, like, it's a massive crush. It's like, oh, people can be expositional and you can make them say exactly what they feel without actually making us work. Because like therapy
it could be a good device, I think. But maybe we shouldn't have been in the therapy session for so long. Maybe we should have had another break and each couple break off.
And then see them actually interact, you know, because the way...
Post the therapy session, the after effects of all that happened.
You would portray... It's such a weird situation. Another thing I feel like as well, it didn't... To me, it felt... It didn't know what kind of genre or what kind of like acting style this play wanted, because it was like, especially it was very jarring with therapists, both of the therapist characters to me, because they were like, at first they were very kind of comical therapists and the way they were speaking and all that. Oh yeah, guys, now let's just relax. But like very kind of very comedic, very funny. And then they turn into like this very kind of like naturalistic way of acting. And like the same happened with all the characters to some extent, I feel.
It started off as caricatures.
And then end up like being real, but then jump back to the caricatures. Like one actor is in that caricature kind of way, and another one is like being very naturalistic. And like each could be a creative choice, obviously. In this play, it wasn't. I think it was just it didn't feel like a deliberate choice. I think it's, again, and I think a lot of it came from like the jokes.
Yeah.
And trying to be funny.
I think overall, I mean, again, if you want to see the play, you should go see it. It's the hottest ticket in town. And form your own opinions. But to us, we felt like it just felt dated and it wasn't a clear message, which can work sometimes, but I didn't know what I was supposed to consider once I left the theater. Yeah. What am I supposed to think about?
Exactly.
What am I supposed to analyze about what I saw?
Yeah. It should be like some kind of a new, I don't know, perspective or something, like a question asked. But there was, to be fair, none of it, like, at least I couldn't see anything.
And I think even if, it wasn't our favorite thing to see, we do have to say, just like the playwright said in the talkback, that this is like a way to open up the West End to different types of shows that are, a little more edgy and not, your typical West End shows. Like you mentioned, Adrienne Kennedy's Funny House of a Negro, and other Black British playwrights and other Black American playwrights whose work is a bit, whose work is, definitely abstract. Funny House of a Negro definitely is abstract. Hell, even Colored Museum, that would be a good one by George C. Wolfe. Anyway, that would be a really funny one. Anyway, but then we forgot to talk about that controversy about the blackout nights.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
even Rishi Sunak waged in saying this is segregation, whatever. Yeah, but y'all already segregate the theater anyway.
Oh yeah, so that was actually very interesting because, like, I know.
It's like, what do you care? You don't go to the West End.
No, exactly. But yes, because white people need more safe spaces to enjoy the
theater really is their safe space, to be honest. Let's be real. Let's be real.
For real.
If you want to
feel safe,
seriously, do you know the amount of times when I was an undergrad and I had to go see shows, for school to review for class or whatever, and in that city that is 50% Black.
Yeah.
DC used to be called Chocolate City for a reason, because at one point it was 70% Black, but it's decreased with time, of course, it's gentrification.
Right.
But a city that is mostly Black. I went to go see Man of La Mancha at Shakespeare Theater Company.
Makes sense.
And guess what? I was the only Black person in that goddamn audience.
Makes sense for that one. But like in general, yes. So yes, theaters are safe space for white people. No, but like for real. Yeah. And I think so even though we didn't enjoy it,
but go see it specifically to
get good shows,
good different financially, how it's financially viable.
Exactly.
Spend that money so that everyone can see, oh, it made money. Oh, this can be successful. Let's produce another show like it. We don't have to have shows just about gun violence and
it's
knife violence
it's not
and
even
stuff.
It's not even like, it has nothing even to do about like Black plays. I think in general, something like with a higher concept and like weird, bizarre, something brave.
Let's be a little bit unsafe.
Yeah, because as we talked about it so many times, we are fucking bored in theater a lot of the times.
Seriously.
So to be fair, I found slave play boring a little bit.
Yeah, no, I told you I was getting tired there in that therapy session. That last half, I was like, come on, people.
But it doesn't matter. We can use this to bring other shows that are actually good and thrilling and dangerous and ask questions off the back of it. And this is what Harris actually said.
Yes,
he wants to, inspire other and open up the doors for West End to other people and other brief creators. So hey,
all right. I think that's it. We got to stop rambling now. Stop talking.
Stop talking.
We could talk about it even longer, but we're not going to.
Oh, trust us.
Maybe offline. But again, if any listeners out there, reveal yourselves, first of all, because we know that there's at least 5.
One of them is David Letterman.
Like, reach out to us on our Instagram at We're Just Haters,
Oh my god, you're such a podcaster. Are we actually doing this?
Tell us what you thought.
No, like and subscribe.
Well, anyway, I don't even know what show we're seeing yet. We haven't decided yet.
Listen, we're gonna try, for the sake of diversity and inclusion, we're gonna try not to see another Black American playwright.
Maybe, yeah. Actually, all the episodes have been Black playwrights in general, actually.
Black American playwrights.
Well, too, yeah.
Oh, no. The first one, well, there's some archival episodes, I guess. But yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see you next time, everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna go Chekhov's Cherry Orchard. Okay, bye.
Please no. Please no, Chekhov.